I'll say
Well, what?
morning. Pray for your pastor. Pray for your leaders. It's important that we pray for them, and they are responsible for taking care of their families. Because if they can't run their house, how can they run the church?
We got that. Sometimes we forget that pastors are human too, just like us, and that they go through real things. We think that just because we come to you and you have all the answers that help us, that you're immortal or something. So pastors are people as well, and we need to remember and consider that carries a lot of burdens and does a lot of things as well. And pray for mental health. That's very important as well.
I feel like this read and this time it made me really reflect on First Lady, honestly. Just it made me think about both of y'all, how strong your marriage has to be, what a strong wife she has to be. Because you are pulled in so many different directions, and where it was talking about the struggle that it must have on a family, and it was talking about how he could barely go home, to one, grieve for himself, but then his wife. And then I know how, like loving your husband, how seeing your husband and everything that he goes through, the kind of impact that has. And then, just dealing with it as a marriage as a whole, and as a woman, as a wife, and having to take up that, knowing my husband has to take care of all these people and all these things. So now she has to come in, and kind of pick up, like it said, for, I think it was 1 Timothy 3, just the standard, that the household has to hold its ground to. So it had me reflecting a lot on that. And I felt like, again, props to you guys.
The takeaway I got from here is the devil is powerful, and pastors can get tempted like regular people too. And that's where the church comes into play, where we have to pray, because he can fall into any little thing like the world if he's weak-minded enough. But as a strong pastor with a strong mind, you have to stay grounded and rooted in the word. And also the church, as we pray, and we see that every day in the media, with different pastors being brought down for adultery or gambling. You just would have no idea what some pastors have gotten themselves into.
It had crossed my mind, as a pastor, with all that you deal with, if a pastor is not applying himself to God totally, it's easy for him to get burnt out and feel overwhelmed. You know what I mean? Like with all the things that's coming at him at one time, if he's trying to do it on his own without God being led, it will be detrimental for him. You know what I'm saying? Because God will give him the strength to endure those things, and then he'll send people to help him, to assist. But it's easy to get overwhelmed and burned out.
When I was reading this, I feel it's very important to have a good relationship with your pastor, to be able to allow him to speak sometimes on his own, like when you are together, maybe vent to you, maybe get some things off of his chest, pray about it with him, and have understanding. And just sometimes he needs us to listen to him sometimes, because he's always listening to us. So I try and be that church member for you sometimes, and call you up, pray with you, just ask how you doing.
For me, on the very last page, under the fourth pledge, when it says, as church members, we must be willing to pray for the leaders in our church. Without our ongoing intercessory prayer, our churches will not be healthy. And so that, as you see, if we're not continuing praying, our church is unhealthy. And when we're unhealthy, there's suffering. And so, it's just important to pray for all our leaders. All our leaders go through something. Sometimes, when you start seeing a leader kind of slacking, or maybe not being themselves, you just never know what may be going on in their life. And that's why I love the fact that we all can reach out to each other and check on each other.